Okay. Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the media. Thank you for accommodating us with today. All right. Today is just going to be a statement from the Deputy Prime Minister concerning evolving legal proceedings. The Deputy Prime Minister will give you his sentiments regarding what's happening, and after which we will take maybe a few questions and then we will conclude. So, without further ado.
Thank you very much, Riani. Fresh off Alan Shastney's humiliating loss at the CCJ, the UWP is up to its old tricks and is once again trying to take St. Lucians for fools. We have another false allegation, another waste of precious time and resources in our judicial system, another attempt to damage our nation for selfish goals. Let's look at the facts. Video evidence shows nothing like what has been alleged. I did not push anyone out of the Parliament building. Upon request, I attended an interview with Inspector George Clark at the Criminal Investigation Department. I knew Inspector Clark from an earlier encounter in 2021, to which I will return. His opening remarks to me betrayed that he had made up his mind on the allegation, so much so that one, he started by stating to me that he had reason to believe I had committed an assault, and two, that he had arranged an identification procedure even before having any conversation with me, with Miss Charles to identify me. Notwithstanding my objections, Inspector Clark explained that he was following procedures and would be preparing a file for onward submission for a decision to be made on any action to be taken. An interview was conducted. The complainant identified me as the person who pushed her out of the Parliament building. Let us return to the officer who investigated and charged me. He is none other than Inspector Clark, who it is alleged to be a known UWP operative. My first encounter with him was in 2021 elections, when he tried to stop an SLP meeting in Ancillary, and I stood up to him. I accused him then of being a UWP operative. I'm reliably informed that he once took bets that I would lose my seat in the last general elections. Curiously, only days before he charged me, the same investigating officer was in a public place and embroiled in a heated argument with others about me. He may not have known that these individuals knew me very well, or probably he could not care less. It would be interesting when he appears in court for the inspector to answer a few questions. Who did he forward the case file to? The commissioner? The DPP? And if the DPP, did he forward it through the office of the commissioner? Did he forward the file to any senior officer who advised him to press charges? If not, what was the response given to him by any senior officer that he consulted? Or was he on a frolic of his own? As it relates to Eldridge Charles, the alleged complainant, I have said before to you, the media, that if she had indicated that she felt offended by my words or actions, whatever they were, I would have easily apologized. I have always enjoyed a cordial rapport with Eldridge and had no reason to believe that she would have issues with my interaction with her. She never once complained to me of any hurt, in any form, to herself. Yet with the known sentiment that elections are near, she makes a criminal complaint that I pushed her out of the Parliament building. But tell me, how many people do you know call Newspin to first engage in political commentary, then announce they had received a summons for a court case? Please tell me. How many people make media rounds to announce and or attempt to try the court their case in the court of public opinion. If my actions were so wrong and she was offended by what she claimed happened and wanted redress, why not reach out to me? Why not pursue a civil case so she can get compensation? Why pursue a criminal case? Simply put, this is a political matter with a political purpose. There are so many cases that the police are investigating and yet to charge anyone. But in this case, in less than 2 months, Inspector Clark has completed all his investigations, charged, and even gotten a court date. It is sad when the public expects the police to focus on serious matters affecting St. Lucians and not waste time and resources on unfounded and politically motivated allegations. These resources would be far better spent addressing serious crimes and improving public safety for all St. Lucians. Every hour spent chasing this baseless political drama is an hour not spent serving St. Lucians. Be that as it may, I am satisfied that from the beginning of this matter, there has been no political interference or intimidation in the proceedings from my side. We are proud of the relationship this government has with law enforcement in St. Lucia, and we believe that no one is above the law. The process has proceeded on the basis that the St. Lucia Police Force should be a professional body with officers who, despite their political persuasions, will not act as political operatives. It is what I expect, we all expect, as citizens from the Commissioner, the High Command, and the rank and file of the police force. Individuals are entitled to and will always have their political views, but no individual should seek to use the power of the position that they have to abuse law and order for partisan political purposes. Beyond wasting police resources, these accusations are an attempt to deceive and manipulate the St. Lucian people. The UWP seem to believe that voters can be easily taken for fools. They are wrong. St. Lucians can tell the difference between leadership and performance. These reckless actions are a fickle attempt to distract from the real challenges St. Lucia faces, from the progress that we've made from economic recovery and job creation to ensuring safety for communities and improving public services, and more so, from the inability of the opposition to present themselves as a viable option for leadership. We will not be dragged into theatrics. This government remains focused on delivering for the people, lowering costs, improving services, and creating opportunities, while others waste time on political theater and misinformation. PR stunts won't lower prices or improve public services. It won't create jobs. It won't increase pensions. It won't improve healthcare or provide more scholarships. We are focused on doing our work, and we will let institutions do theirs. I will fight this latest saga with all the legal might that I have. I am fully conscious that it is politically motivated, time to embarrass and distract the government and the St. Lucia Labour Party. It is the continuation of the obsession to get Ernest Hilaire at all costs. I will fight on and I will win. Thank you very much.
Like that? Hold on, we'll take a handful of questions. All right, anybody? Who's going first? Who has the first question? All right, the voice. All right, go ahead.
Yes, a voice.
Yeah, the voice has the voice.
Voice of the nation.
Yeah.
Okay, so has the commissioner been contacted? Has he been brought into the matter? If not, what happens now as it relates to the officer in question? Is there going to be some sort of investigation? Is there going to be a situation where your government addresses this officially?
Well, I have not spoken to the commissioner, and I will not speak with him. That's it. My lawyers, at this point, my lawyers will deal with it. I am not going to speak. I said in the statement what we expect from the commissioner and what we expect from the police force. And that's where it will remain.
With regards to the officer.
I have no idea. That's not my headache. But one thing I can tell you, this matter will go where it has to go for final resolution. I mean, this has to stop at some point. And the courts still remains our best option to deal with those matters.
Okay. Chloe, NBC News. You stressed on the word push. She says assault. Assault could be any physical contact. Would you say that even though there's no malice behind it, that you did physically touch her in the moment, that she exaggerated the word and said it was push? And she also said that after all the evidence, because they had investigations in terms of the video. If it wasn't real, then it wouldn't have been brought to court. What do you have to say on that?
I'm not going to go into legal definition of what's this and what's that. I can tell you what I was told. I was told a complaint was made by somebody that I pushed out of the Parliament's building. I am told during the identification procedure, she was asked, "Is this the gentleman who put his hand on the small of your back and pushed you out of the building?" She said, "Yes." That's all I know. I am not going to go in any legal definition, whether I touch her and whether touching is assault, whether speaking is assault. That's the lawyers who deal with that. I'm only speaking to what I know. She said I pushed her out of the building. She identified me as the individual who put my hand on her back and pushed her out of the building. She said it in front of me, in front of officers. She identified me as the person doing that. I know I never did that. And that's all I can focus on.
Mr. Minister, from all your indication, it seems there is political interference within the police force, and you're concerned about this?
I'm very concerned about this. I mean, and again, in my statement, it's very clear. Officers will have their political views and persuasions. Journalists have their political views and persuasions. Some of you I don't know, some of you I do know, you know. But the fact is, you don't expect persons to use or be guided by their political persuasions undertaking their work. You expect a certain level of professionalism, you know. And let me tell you, even this officer was on sick leave, you know. And then he leaves sick leave, from what I'm told, to come and investigate this case.
Special case.
And then I will ask you, the media, to go and do some research. Who is the police prosecutor in the court where the case was lodged? Go and find out. I'm not getting, I wouldn't say anymore. Go and find out.
So, as a minister, you have deep concern about what's happening within the police force, because we've been hearing it.
I have deep concerns where public officers, they act by political persuasion and not by professionalism.
Is this another Peter Chico saga?
Who's next? Yeah.
This another Peter Chico saga, considering all what you went through?
Well, you know, let me tell you something. My mindset, I have a mindset where I know I have to fight every day, every single day. So I wake up every morning to fight, you know, and I also know that I have to build, as a minister of this government, we focus on, you know, putting people first. So every morning I wake up, I'm excited by the work I have before me. But I'm always minded that every single day is a fight, a battle, because there are forces in this country that will stop at no limit to get back into power. And like one of the candidates said, this is a new breed of UWP. So you never know.
Next one.
Hi, Ms. Minister. At Monday's press briefing, you said that the attacks on you will continue when the CCJ case was over, and all of us were thinking, well, it's over. Do you consider this part of the vendetta against you? And I'm thinking, like, strategically, in terms of politics, how much does this have to do with the fact that you have been seen from the time you entered politics as a future leader of this party? That is it maybe like, is it a strategy, you know, like take out the next leader before he even becomes the next leader?
Well, I don't even know why, you know, I have no idea. and maybe I'll be a different kind of leader in my disposition towards them. Maybe that.
So do you think it's part of a vendetta? Do you think you're a lightning rod for the opposition in the way that Richard Frederick has created himself to be a lightning rod, that he'll do an accidental lightning rod?
I'm too gentle for this.
I think the question will be very funny. Are you targeted woefully unlucky or very thoughtful?
I'm too gentle for that kind of speculation.
So, Mr. Minister, as the government in charge right now, what are you hoping that, or what can your government do to ensure that things like that do not happen? Because it seems to be a very serious issue.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good question. I think we have a lot of faith in the institutions of this country. And some people might say we are a little too naive in our faith in the institutions of this country. I know that the government I'm part of would never want to interfere in an official process and try to, push it or interfere or redirect any investigation or not. That's not the government that I'm part of. And I know my Prime Minister. So we have faith in the institutions. And like I said, sometimes we're probably a little too naive in our assumptions that people will be professional. I mean, only this morning you saw, a clip going around of, officers in a police vehicle, in police uniform, going and serve papers from an opposition candidate or someone who's been criticizing that candidate. And you really wonder the appropriateness of this. I'm not saying you should not take a side job to go and serve documents, but please don't go if a police pickup and if your police uniform on you. Come on. But you expect people to be professional. And you expect people to have their political persuasions. I have friends who are, UWP supporters. We argue, we talk, we drink. I was about to tell you the name of a friend of mine who is a noted contributor to Facebook, and he writes, prolific in his writings. I mean, I'm sure some journalists in there know him as well, especially when it comes to crime and such matters.
Is he your constituent?
No, he's not my constituent. He lives in Rosalie. But the point is, you take people, they have a right to have their political opinion, whatnot, but you don't expect when I go to his institution, he will treat me differently because you have different political persuasion. I don't expect the police, and the commissioner has to, directly to your question, the commissioner has to impose a discipline on the force that persons, think about it, citizens have to be worried about which officer come and attend to their cases of a particular political persuasion, And I mean, when you see the actions of the candidate of the UWP for Vivat North, for goodness sake, was a police officer, it really makes you wonder what sometimes going, what may be happening, in the institution. But we still have faith in the institutions, and we put in a lot of resources in the institution and other institutions because we want St. Lucia to be a country where you can have faith in the institutions of the state. We want that. And it probably doesn't exist now. And maybe some of us will pay the price for the growth and development of those institutions. But we need to have institutions where citizens are confident. When they're going to apply for a piece of land, they will not be treated a particular way, but the institutions will be professional, they will be objective, even if people have their political persuasions. And that's the kind of maturing democracy we want to have. So that's why it's important for me to fight those matters in court and to win. To fight it in court and to win. And maybe make a few people pay for abusing the system legally.
So we'll just take three.
Jason alone is two.
Simple question. Don't you think, in the interest of the progress that the government has made on a wide variety of issues, that maybe it's time to play dirty and not to do this Michelle Obama thing where when they go low, we go high. Maybe it's time to, kick somebody in the knee, and isn't it? Are we not risking the progress that has been made by trying to play up to a cleaner, higher politics, which has hardly ever existed in the whole history of politics anywhere in the world?
But I still feel you have to have faith in the future. You have to have faith in building a country where there's meritocracy, there's fairness, there's objectivity. It doesn't mean there will not be rogue elements. But you have to feel a certain level of faith in the country. If you're driving down the road, an officer will not just stop you because he happen to know it was supporting that. You don't want to have a country like this. You want to know when your children apply. One thing I'm really proud of this government. You see, when we decide like who gets scholarships and who gets things like that, nobody does. Which party they supported, which thing like that. We don't do those things. There's a scoring system that comes through, whatnot, and candidates are recommended, whatnot. And you know why I'm proud of this? Because as a student, I suffered from that. I left the A-level college. I spent about, those of you know my story. Years I could not get, not even economic course in this country because I was an activist in the National Youth Council. I don't know if you remember the history of the National Youth Council. I had to go to K-ville on my own, virtually part-time. You understand? They would do any and everything to deny me getting a university education because I was seen as an anti-government, operative, a youth leader. And I promised myself I must never do that to any young person in this country. Never. And I have opened myself to help young persons, whatever their backgrounds.
And you willing to pay the price of that?
Because I believe at the end of the day, if you don't do that, you will lose the soul of the nation and we'll all pay a price. So it's better you take the chance and fight for it. And I've always, what motivates me in life is fighting for causes.
Okay,
I think I can fight a bit. So I'll fight. Yeah.
So, Mr. Minister, can you just tell us the process? How will you charge? When you will charge and will court dates?
My lawyer called me and told me that he had a copy of a summons for me to appear in court on December 4th. From the legal advice I've been given, December 4th will be case management when they discuss how the case moves forward. I have left it up to my lawyer and other lawyers who will be there to support me to manage the process moving forward. I'm not getting involved. I'm leaving it to the lawyers. Let me tell you, I know what I know. My lawyers have seen the tape, and even the public has seen the tape, that if someone made a complaint that I pushed her out of the building and she identified me as the person who pushed her out of the building, then the lawyers deal with it. I will deal with the politics of it, but the lawyers will deal with all the legal matters. So I can't tell you what. I can't tell you no legal strategy. I can't tell you, any motions will be filed. All I was told by my lawyer is that they received a copy of a summons. I have not even seen it myself, but my lawyer did call me and tell me he had received it. But let me tell you how this whole thing is. For example, when I was first told by, my attaché, it was that I had to attend an interview at the police, headquarters on this matter. I also got a call from a media friend telling me that certain persons in the media were alerted that I was going to be going in for an interview, so they should be outside the CID office waiting for me. And I was like, before I even know I had to do an interview, somebody had already called certain persons in the media and told them that I was going to be appearing here, so like for the media to come there and create a big spectacle about it. And I said to my lawyer, well, I'm not going to be part of that if they want to interview me. I will go. I have nothing to hide, but I'm not going to be part of a spectacle. So they need to handle this thing properly. At the end of the day, I went and there was, I think the media, those of you who were alerted, showed, some, I don't know, judgment, not to whatever, or discretion. But it just tells you that the individual who made a call to the media wanted a spectacle. The same thing with this matter. My lawyer told me they had received a summons. And okay, all right, I'll go to court. And then people are calling me, this person is on Newspin talking about they got summons, so Hilaire is charged, and all the UWP surrogates is on Facebook. Hilaire is charged, Hilaire this, Hilaire that. And it was time exactly. We were here Monday morning, and within hours of me delivering what I did about the CCJ, it was on Newspin, calling Newspin within a couple of hours. The timing was immaculate. You understand? But it just tells you what it is all about. But the more important thing is, we're not going to get distracted. We're going to work even harder. I am going to work even harder. I think the best of me comes out in circumstances like this. So, I'm fully motivated. I know the government is more focused than ever. And, we shall see what happens in the next couple of months, few months.
Okay, so listening to your statement and your responses to the various questions, it almost tells me, almost sounds, as if the hierarchy of the police force and I guess the commissioner does not have a handle on what is happening in the police force.
I don't know many solutions that will disagree with you.
Okay. Thank you very much. I think the minister has
Thank you
said
very much.
more than
Thanks for
enough.
coming.
That concludes it.